Greetings, one and all. I'm going to be doing a simple stream tonight. Going to be working on this font. All right, audio has been tested and it is successful. I got to remember to get rid of that dub and flub bar at the top and make it only for the game site because it's only needed once, but it's still stuck up there. But yeah, we won't be going on too long tonight. But just so you know, if you are watching this on as a recording, which I know it's not likely, but we do have a couple of people every now and again that have mentioned that they do. We are going to be having very soon. Let's see here. Why is it not appearing? Just a second. It is this. The Blender Challenge. It's taking place this weekend. There might be a little bit of a shift in the time. This is the first time of doing this, so I expect it's going to need to be a little flexible. Either way, we do have a couple of people interested in this. And this will be streamed on the Castercraft side, not the Alaska Man Jeff side, just so you know. We're going to be putting more art streams over there intentionally. Right now I've kind of not been doing that, but we're going to be taking more effort to push some of the streams over there as it gets built up. Anyway, just wanted to mention about that. You know, I regularly try and check if there are videos about art, animation that are taking place on Rumble, and still nothing. It's all AI. Very sad to see, honestly. I'm still waiting to get a hold of them, and honestly, it's been a long time since I've contacted them because I just gave up. But I do need to try and do that again. The snap feature in Illustrator never ceases to amaze me how poorly built it is. It doesn't like to snap on some occasions, and it will snap in others. It makes no sense. Greetings, fan. Ah, so that's what the abbreviations were for. Battle for Dream Island. How's it going with you? Be right back. Indeed. Indeed. Let's see. This right here is a quick abbreviation to a quick update to the letters that were being done yesterday. Not yesterday, a few days ago. Because I realized I had some measurement problems. May not seem much right now, but when I was looking at the font from further away, I did notice these problems were far more striking than I was originally expecting they would be. So by doing this, we've actually reduced the weight of the font by a substantial amount. It makes these, what are these called? Little serifs. Make them stand out all the more. There was a class I could have taken about font design, and I missed out on that opportunity because I was forced to take gen ed classes. Not like I was super keen on making fonts to begin with, but it would have been interesting to kind of hear what the teacher had to say on the subject. Alright, almost done. Well, we're having some problems kind of getting folks to sign up for the Blender competition. Doesn't mean that people don't want to participate. It mostly means that people's schedules just are not aligning. And so we're probably going to have to consider some other strategy moving forward. But for the time being, it could be a little bit of a problem. Right now it looks like it's going to be more in the tutorial sort of category, but it's still going to be the same sort of techniques that are going to be covered in the event, which maybe is for the best, honestly. But we'll wait. I'm going to give it a few more days to see who is interested. Making a final decision basically the day beforehand. We're not doing heavy promotion of this because, well, I don't know what to expect for the first one. The second and the third one will be a bit more, a bit easier to plan. These ones I know are good, so I'm going to change those. Take that away. I have to finish this tonight, ideally. Why can I not select that? Oh, now I can. Weird. Should have moved these into their own category a long time ago. Okay, lock that. No more should that be disappearing on me, or being shifted around or whatnot. Welcome back, fan. Getting very close to this thing being done. You know, regrettably, I found out that apparently, well, apparently there's another commission that I'm being asked to help out with, but I can't do it this time. There's too many things going on. I got a written product in the works. Got the competitions to kind of figure it out. Got just regular stuff to try and do, which is a shame because I never like to disappoint. But lo and behold, this looks like one of the few times where I'm going to have to disappoint. See here. Should play Minecraft for a later stream. Maybe one day. I remember you mentioned about that the other day. And I've actually had multiple people mention that before. Yeah, I just haven't even never got the game, never cracked it open. It might be there for the future. You never know. I'm willing to give it a try, but we'll see. We will see. What is this font going to be called? Well, this font is actually basically going to be named after the commission. Basically, it's going to be the Legend Seeker font. Legend Seeker is I think I mentioned this last time, but it's a D&D like book that is being made. It's being made by a friend of mine who has been working on it for years. And he reached out to me and wanted to see if I could make some elements for it, including intro videos, fonts, lay out the book, things like that. And he reached out to me just recently to try and figure out a new video to do. And I'm just swamped right now. I went back to full-time at work. If I wasn't doing full-time, I would have a lot more flexibility to try and do it. But not currently. And he really does have some interesting things I think he'll be able to pull off with all his projects, but regrettably, this is what happens when you get strung too thin in too many different directions. Also seen the avalanche for South Alaska. High wind warnings, yes. It has been blowing something fierce. Everyone's been also aware of, like, right now we've had a shift in the weather. It was 50 degrees the other day. It is now freezing, and snow has returned, thankfully. So it's again beautiful out there, but it is slippery. Very, very slippery. Okay, you know, I'm just going to get the K again because something is messed up with that. Actually, let me double check this K. What's missing? Okay, clean up that. That is the thing that was causing me problems. There we go. You have an introduction video too. I've seen the dub, and I see the dub in Flub window. Yeah, I was actually mentioning that at the start. I've been meaning to get rid of it. I used to have a different window for it, but I misplaced it. And so I gotta figure out where the other one went, because I don't really want to rebuild that element. So for now, it's just kind of stuck up there. Maybe I need to make it so it's a counter based upon how many times the font turns out perfect and how many times it ends up being a nuisance. So a couple years back, my friend reached out to me to try and pull off a series of animations for his first D&D campaign. And this was before he told me he was making his own projects. And he brought up some of the different things that would be incorporated. And one of the best parts of working on the projects was that there was a lot of flexibility. I could be able to explore things and not feel like I'd overstepped too much, which was nice because I had just come from a place that got furious if you stepped out of line. And so he wanted more to have the kind of the perfection of it, and that was very refreshing. Tell you what, if you want an artist to thrive and be dedicated to your project, just make sure that you'll let them be artistic. It's so easy. But a lot of businesses don't value that sort of concept. I dare say to their own detriment. Also, I joined the Discord server, but I need a verification code. I didn't even get any under my own email. So let me describe this process for you. So I know at Discord it can be a little finicky right now. So let me copy the link here because we had a problem with this. Okay, so this is the Discord right here. You can get to it by clicking this link. So this link should take you to this area right here. If it doesn't take you here, then we got a problem and Discord is bugging out on us. But it'll mention that you're in that community, and like right now, just a second. Notification from something else. Stand by. Oh, okay. Never mind. Disregard that. At least for right now. So, when you join it, it's going to allow you access to what is called the greater community. Now, this is people that have been relatively new to the Discord. There are other areas, including this area for the Wolf Pack. So, the Alpha Pack. So these are people that have been in the Discord for a long time, and they can be able to post over here, and you can be able to see it. But your area that you will get right off is this area within the greater community. And we'll add to this to make it a little bit more fleshed out. But this was the way to kind of help prevent things from getting too swamped too fast. But yeah, if the link doesn't work, then I messed something up, which is completely possible. Oh, by the way, since I already have this thing pulled up, just a reminder to anyone watching, either now or later on, we have this coming up, Blender Challenge. That is going to be sometime around the 1st. I've not gotten too much information back from our 3D modelers and animators just yet. I don't know if this time is going to work for them or not. Could be an issue. So we're just going to treat it like a tutorial session with the possibility of being a challenge. We'll have some challenges in there, but it'll be more like for anybody to participate if they so desire. Discord has been a wonderful tool. It's had a couple of problems here and there, but for the most part, it is so nice. Compared to just about any other platform, it is just about perfect. Very, very few issues that we've had with it. And one of the biggest problems that we've had across any platform is the issue of spam. Spam and scams. They're everywhere. But on Discord, you have the ability to start to filter it out. It's friendly to the users first and foremost. Man, I cannot tell you how much that has helped. Emails, I get scams constantly. I don't even check my emails anymore because there's so many scams. Thankfully, Discord has been incredibly reliable for helping to avoid the nature of the scam world that email has been plagued with for years now. Oh yeah, you'll still get a couple of people that cause problems, but for the most part, it's fairly easy to fix. That's what happens when you have a closed-off area. It's open to the public and whatnot, but it's closed off in the sense that if there's a problem, if there is a problem, it gets resolved, and it doesn't usually come back. Usually. That reminds me, I need to figure out the Castercraft Discord once this first competition is done. Because that area is where a lot of the competition-related stuff is going to be located. Just for ease of use and to help make it a little bit more friendly to animators, modelers, whatnot. And we will have something new for the people that don't have any sort of PC to be able to do that stuff with. Because lo and behold, I've met yet more people that are in 2D, and they don't have things, but they want to give it a shot. So we're probably going to have, ideally, we'll get to the point of where we're having a competition once a week. One for 3D, and that'll probably be at the end of the month. One for 2D and other sorts of sketches. Maybe one for some other types of crafts, and maybe a free-for-all. I've been thinking about this for now over a month, and it just keeps showing so much promise. I mean, sure, it could all fall apart. I realize not everything is designed to be perfect. Not everything is designed to work the first time, or even ever, really. There's a lot of chances for failure. But I feel like there's something here that is going to turn out pretty well, at least in the long term. It may take us a while to get there, but I do have a desire to want to make that work. But Discord has been a huge part of trying to help make that stuff a possibility, of which, if it was trying to be coordinated with email, it never would happen. Never mind, it was just my account. I'll do it later. Understand. The Discord, once it's set up, it's kind of good to go at that point. It doesn't take too much problems. In fact, of all my accounts I've tried to log into, Discord is the easiest once it gets set up. I remember Discord in its early days, and not a lot of people used it. Actually, people were using something slightly different. It was called Mumble. Now, Mumble is garbage, or at least was garbage. It was so painful to use. So we used Skype. Skype was our way to communicate when we did games. And then my friends were just insisting, saying, no, we got to go on to Mumble. Mumble's the best. And they insisted so much. I was like, guys, I hate Mumble. Mumble never works. It glitches like nothing else. Why are you so gung-ho about this thing? And thankfully, after a while longer, my friends stopped requesting that I join that. Instead, they said, hey, let's use this new tool called Discord. And I was like, if it's anything like Mumble, I'm not touching it. I'm like, no, you're gonna love it. It's so much more intuitive. It's got great UI. It is super friendly to creators and whatnot. Just give it a shot. All right, fine, I'll give it a shot. And I've been using it ever since. I've worked with multiple businesses with this. I've worked with friends with volunteer work. I've worked with animators. I've worked with churches. I've worked with all manner of people. And makes you wonder if it is going to replace our email. I've noticed email is trying to catch up with it. They're trying desperately to catch up and say about all these different things that they can try and incorporate into their tools to make it like Discord. So yeah, everyone else is now trying to be Discord, even though they don't want people to know that's what they're trying to do, it seems. All right, now I should be able to merge these together. 1 and 2 and merge. Perfect. And why do we do that one? Well, because both of them are kind of the same. And I'm going to do this variation here. I use Ibis Paint for drawing. It's right between advanced and beginner. It's for people with experience, but not much. You know, I think I've heard about that tool before. Let me pull this thing up. I always like learning about new tools. Ibis. Ibis Paint. Oh, yes, I remember this. Okay. Let's turn off that. Yes, I recognize this. There's a lot of great tools out there. It's actually kind of disappointing because there's so many of them. I feel sorry for them when they have all the competition, because that means they have to invest a ton of money into making sure their products always stay up to date. That's one of the reasons why I'm such a big fan of the free stuff, because that has the biggest chance of survival, especially the open source stuff. And this, that's actually pretty nice. The fact that you can be able to get that, what looks like for free. Yep, it is for free. Nice. I'm gonna bookmark that. Could be useful. I'm animating objects. Which is what BFDI is the first object. Sorry, text is too small here. Let me increase the font size here. I'm animating object show, which is what BFDI is, the first object show. And I got a Discord server for people. I'm looking for animators and voice actors. You know, we actually had a couple of people that were working on the Lego TV show, and they actually stopped by. They were kind of mentioning about some things kind of like that they were dealing with. They were jumping back and forth between channels, just trying to find out who was doing what and being able to learn some of the process as well as be able to form connections. That's one of the great parts about our modern streaming world and also social media, is that there's the ability to make those connections that normally you would have had to go to Hollywood itself to be able to find anybody that did that sort of stuff. Do you have any samples of this stuff that you've been working on? When I got to animating for Erudai, one of the great parts about that whole process was that there was the opportunity to really not have to worry about matching a certain style, which was good to begin with, but then I learned the hard way that I actually need to learn how to get better at imitating a style. So the last couple of months I've been trying to improve that, trying to fix that problem in my own techniques. Because it is a huge part of every animator and, well, kind of artist career to begin with. Actually, I remember hearing about a comic that was being made. It was for Marvel, and they mentioned about the handoff that would happen. They would have to talk with people that were going to take over the art, and they would have to basically prove that they could make the character in their own style, but using the character sheets of old, so they could at least make the characters look somewhat familiar. I thought that was quite genius. I've always been wondering about the process that one has to go through to try and make that work. I still don't know how they do it so seamlessly. So my first project in which I was working, other than like typical advertising, which is what I did for a lot of what I did, it was actually with the Lego project. One of the reasons why I have all the Lego bricks to begin with. I was making Lego bricks for them, helping to clean it up and make it all refined so they could use it in their video game. Sadly, though, they no longer wanted me around there. It's one of the most perplexing turn of events that I've ever had, because we had no problems that would result in that. And so I have no idea as to why it turned out in that way. Because I was one of their hardest working groups, one of the hardest working folks in their team. But that's the problem of fan projects, is that sometimes their leadership structure doesn't always make sense, and sometimes you're left perplexed as to why things turn out the way that they do. Maybe I'll find out one day why they had so many issues with that, but honestly, I think it was a mistake. Like, somebody in their team made a mistake and made the wrong call, because I think several people got removed from the project without any warning whatsoever. And I was just too busy to look back and try and figure out what had happened. Greetings there, Jess. How are you doing? Yep. Forgot to change the window back to snow. Now we do have snow in the background. Let's see here. Where is that? Right here. Change it to snow. Okay, now I got it snowing it back there. Which, honestly, I don't think people can really see. And there we got snow again. Perfect. Did you see what I put in videos? Let me see here. I don't think I did. Videos. Oh, we got a couple of things here. Okay. It's, oh. Stand by. No, don't play. Oh, I forgot I got rid of my Instagram viewing window. Okay, well, gotta solve that in the future. All right, mute Silverado for a moment. Unmute the desktop. So we're gonna just zoom in manually.
Oh, yes, there are men inside these warships, which, as a holiday attraction, reenact their version of the World War II Battle of the River Plate. Just watch.
Oh my. That looks fun. Could you imagine how much fun that would be?
They've built up this wartime encounter the way old sailors enlarge on their service memories, but the ships are exact replicas of ships afloat with convoys when the Ajax, Achilles, and the Exeter blazed a glory trail. And here they are in a brilliant portrayal of the war at sea.
They actually put people inside of that. And yet they have remote control airplanes flying overhead. But they couldn't do that for a boat.
Oh, yes, there are men inside.
Just the fact that they put people inside of those things is ridiculous. Imagine if that thing sank without them being able to get out. Oh no. Could you imagine if that was actually the way they presented toasters? Okay, this is some sort of 3D art. I got to go over and take a look. I got to see what sort of art they do. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Please tell me this isn't an AI artist. Ah, it is. Ah. No, Jess. It looked so good up until that point. Oh no. I recognize this. Although I gotta say, the design still turned out pretty good all the same. No. Now, honestly, that is a pretty interesting design. I would hate to think how much the toaster would cost. It would probably cost a couple of $100s to actually make that in reality. Because, yeah, it would take a lot of craftsmanship to forge that appropriately. Depending on what vendor you go through, it could be an arm and a leg. Quite possibly. Maybe they will send some Vikings to make sure that they can get the payment. Sorry, I didn't realize it was that. Seems like something that could exist. I thought it was real, like the Viking table. You know, so here's... Actually, this is an interesting thing. Let me pull this up for just a moment. Because AI is getting really hard to detect. And honestly, the number one thing... Here's the real telltale sign. It's this. The fact that there's multiple models of this thing, because the length of time that we go into making that would be astronomical. Where can I purchase these? No reply to that one. But the big telltale is this right here, the account. Because things like this, look at the edge, and I've just come to recognize some of these accounts just by the coloration on their images. But if you look at the toilet seat, it slides. This is a lot easier to notice than on the Viking ship. The Viking ship did the same thing. It's just not as noticeable. But look at the lip along the toilet, and you will see how it shifts. Basically, they've taken a still image and 3D imposed it, and that's how they generate it. But the big one that's the real telltale sign is this one, because people in the 3D AI art world have been pushing these giant sofas a lot as of late. They're everywhere. I would love to have this though. Like, as homes go, this would be my ideal home. Something that is like a merger of rustic and nature. And have a little beaver pond in there. Another toilet, another crystal toilet. What is the obsession with crystal toilets? Here's another example. So if you look at where the water's splashing, it's splashing all over the place and it's coming down from weird places. Now that's interesting. Could you imagine how hard it would be to make this? A little forest inside of a sink? That'd actually be quite fascinating. Or like this one. Notice how the water's like flowing all around it. Possible in some ways, but really, really expensive to make. So I'm going to guess you didn't see it in games about the change to Godzilla and about OG Season 2. I've not seen that. Let's take a look at that. Fortnite status. Godzilla portal spawn rate is slightly reduced. I'm glad I was able to actually do it the other day. Bastion and I were finally able to find Godzilla. I jumped through the portal and got to wreak havoc on all those present. But yeah, it was close. It was like the next to last game that I got the chance to actually do that. In OG Season 2. Wait a minute. This is the, is this the same sort of... Yes. Okay, I recognize this. This is like the first OG that they did 2 years ago. Remember for Christmas? That the map looked just like that? That was a good map. I liked it. Look forward to that. No Godzilla on Friday. Yeah, get out of here, you giant lizard. Bring in the monkey. Oh, wait, they're probably not going to bring in the monkey. Could you imagine? Swap it out and instead have King Kong. That'd be fun. But I doubt they'll bring in the monkey. Poor monkey. The Lord died on the cross for us to be in the eternal paradise. Amen. Eternal is probably the proper word that you're probably looking for there. But yes, indeed. Indeed. So I saw a video earlier today that was addressing some of the AI nonsense that's been going on. And I really do think it's nonsense. Because, lo and behold, there's been something unique happening with some of the developments. And it really does seem like the whole charade is starting to fall apart. And thanks to the Chinese app that came out recently, which, by the way, is not as good as the American one. Okay, don't believe what Wall Street freaked out about. But it just kind of shows that the whole AI stuff is just so much nonsense. And I think it truly is that the commoner doesn't need it, and only the rich and the powerful want it. I will remain in my avoidance of that technology. And it's just proving my point to see how much it is jumping with the stock market trends. But I did see something interesting as well. Now, nobody knows if this is actually going to happen, okay? But it looks really possible that there could be an elimination of the income tax. Could you imagine what that would do for everybody? I gotta say, when I heard that, I got ecstatic. When I was fresh out of college, I was in financially a very bad spot. And I was hurting in terms of income. I could barely pay off my bills, let alone pay off my taxes. And it came down to basically biting my nails when I was trying to file my taxes, I was short like $600. Short. I had to take out a small loan to make that happen. And I was like, I'm brand new to getting a job. I don't have my own place to live. I'm barely scraping by. I got bills to pay. And here I have to pay income tax on top of it. And I don't even have any sort of cash reserves whatsoever. If they do this, it's going to transform our entire economy. So if this does happen, I will be so happy, because I have known what it's like to be in that tough position, and I do not want anybody else to have to go through that whole process. I want people to find the ability to stand again. And taxes beat you down, preventing you from getting a chance to really find any sort of reprieve from in your finances. And when you have people knocking on your door, not exactly, but practically knocking on your door, threatening you, it's like, hey, you got to pay your taxes, and you can't even pay for food on the table. It's like, that's cruel. That really is cruel. So anything to eliminate that nonsense. Isn't it funny? They always say they'll tax the top bracket, but the top earners in our country never have to deal with the fear of having their door broken in and to be put into a prison because they can't pay. They never have to worry about that. But the common folk do. The common folk definitely do. The rich can always file a lawsuit. They can do anything that they want to be able to get away from all those problems. But the commoner is stuck. So, may the Lord help this administration to make this a reality. Because I was radicalized when I saw what it was like to be on the losing side of your finances. And I never, ever want another person to have to go through that sort of stuff. Because twice in my life, I had my finances wrecked. Went from stable to nada. And both times it was because of, really, in a huge part, was taxes. There are other things that happen, yes, but life happens. Taxes are constant. They don't care what happened to you. They just care that they get their cut. I know some people don't think it's going to happen. I gotta say, it looks very possible. Maybe not completely gonna be eliminated, but it looks like it could be very, very possible. Not quite. There's not all the same points of interest yet. Oh, for the map. But they're adding in 5 that came with Chapter 1, Season 2. Well, hopefully they bring back hoverboards. I mean, I don't know if they're going to go that far, but that'd be nice. Oh, wait a minute. I just realized it's the wrong color. Oh, sorry, it's the wrong angle there. Point 2. There we go. Not this season yet. Alrighty. Gotta love the gimmick items. wait a minute. Oh, I messed up. Wait a minute. Opacity down? Okay. That explains it. Copy paste. Decrease that. Welcome back. Shopping carts weren't until Season 4, and they were the first vehicle. Yes, indeed. There's this one. Okay, lock that one. Bring it back. And now we'll fix this. So far this session of trying to get this font done has been going far smoother than the previous ones because all the elements are basically created. So the ability to do these updates fairly easy. Wait a minute. Hoverboard wasn't. Oh, wait. Hoverboard wasn't until Season 7. Season 7. Dang, that's gonna. Probably means that we're gonna have to wait a couple of more months then for that to finally make an appearance. If they go that far, of course. Which just raise a question: do they have a cutoff point for this? Will we get the Shockwave Hammer? Are they going to go that far? If only. Oh, you're very kind, fan. Much appreciated. And right now we're on a much slower pace for getting stuff out. But it does remind me, folks, we have also... what the? Wrong button. It does remind me, before we go too much further, we have this coming up. I know you guys have probably seen it already, but this is just in case the people on the Rumble side have not seen it, because we have seven people over there, which, by the way, if you're on the Rumble or the YouTube side, please consider liking the video. You don't have to do anything else. You could dislike it for all I care. But the one thing I do care about is that you do one of the two. Because that way it helps out for me just knowing whether or not you're a bot. And by the way, when we come to... by the way, for those that are regulars and part of the Silverado process, we're going to be bringing back some more opportunities to get pieces of silver during this event, and it's going to be a higher amount than typical. And then we're going to be making it to where it's a bit more common during the streams, because I know that I've kind of put that on a bit of a hold. It's coming back. Saturday is when we'll start really implementing it. Engagement during this Blender challenge is going to result in more of it, because, you know, kind of encourage engagement. It's called Driftboard in Battle Royale. Hoverboard is in Dave the World. I played a little bit of Season 5 and 6 on my sister's Xbox, but I got a Nintendo Switch Lite, so I played Season 7, or Season 8. I was grounded during Season 10. Attack the Golf Cart thing is Season 5. So you'll get a while until fun gimmick stuff comes in. I can't do it. Again, I can draw or I can model on a different app. Indeed. Yeah, we're going to be having some variety for that stuff. You're not the only one. You are not the only one who can do that, can't do the 3D stuff right now, who prefers drawing. I was surprised. I did not think I'd get anybody interested in doing a 2D version of it. I've had 3 people in total reach out to me about that. More people than what there was for the 3D stuff. Never would have expected that. So it's something that's on the horizon. It's probably going to happen in half a month if things go well, but no, not half a month. It would have to be like 3 weeks minimum, just to kind of organize it. That's assuming that we can actually pull it off, but I don't know how to pull it off yet. The 3D one's easy because you can just share a screen. Problem solved. For the 2D one, that would be more of a challenge. But again, I've had 3 people reach out to me about this. So, if people have ideas on how to actually pull that off, I'm all ears, honestly. Because I want things that are in that category of giving people the ability to do their artwork, because we have a lot of artistic people in the Discord. A lot of artistic people in general across all of the platforms. Makes me wonder. Save the world. I was going to say, what is up with this Dave the World? And it made me think about Kevin the Cube. So I thought for a fact that I thought that was actually something that was Fortnite related. I didn't. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, Save the World makes more sense. But when you got Dave the Cube, Kevin the Cube, you think that there's going to be Dave the World at that point. Thanks, Fortnite, for confusing my brain. Maybe they should have Dave the World. It could be a new epic game mode. Help Dave save the world. Maybe send the process if you can also... I can 3D model. It's harder though. Yeah, so for the 3D stuff, so one of the challenges with trying to organize something that's 3D related is, well, something that's not 3D related, is just the ability to do live stuff. You can't really do live stuff in 2D the same way. You usually have to scan something to make the whole process a little bit easier on people. But even for 3D, it's a bit of a challenge. Not everybody has the tools to be able to do it. Oh, come on, wrong button. Not everybody has the tools to really pull that off. In fact, there's a 2D artist that I know. He does some pretty good work, but he struggles with a couple of things. The thing that is a problem is that his work, while good, his camera is abysmal. And so I have no idea what he's doing. It's all a great big mystery because all I see is a giant blob on the screen. Now, people can scan their artwork, at which point you could make it to where it's like a submission every now and again. But one of the big things about the 3D is that you can actually do it timed. If it's 2D, you're more like just making kind of like a pseudo studio. I don't know. The fans named the cube Kevin. I'm subbing because I'm bored. With Kevin the Cube, I know people were like, oh, we're going to name this thing. And why they chose Kevin, I'm not sure. But maybe they need to do the same thing for some other elements in the game. You know, just add it in for the sake of it. Okay, now we got this all going, right? Almost done with this process. Oh, come on. Wrong button. Okay. Lock that. Now we try this. Better. Yep, up. Get back up there. No, let's just grab this one. Okay, K has been useful. More useful than some of the other ones. Actually, wait a minute. No, we'll keep that. Fan, have you, you mentioned you've been working on your own stuff for a while. Do you have any, do you have a portfolio yet? Or have you tried developing a portfolio yet? I've noticed people have a variety of different portfolios that they have made. Some people prefer certain platforms over others, and I do find it interesting that right now there's about 24 platforms it seems people are routinely using. I tuned into Beardo's stream yesterday to kind of see how things are going with him, and he's been doing his Red Dead streams again, and just made me very nostalgic. And one of the things that I noticed with his current run-through that he's doing is just the amount of time it takes to go through the story from start to finish. And I never got the chance to do the full story, understandably. But man, that is a lot of stuff to try and cover. He was barely scraping through the story, and it was already hours and hours in. I've heard some people mention that it takes dozens of hours to complete if you're not, like, really pursuing the end of the game fast. Which, after seeing that, I can definitely believe it. I have a wild stork that comes to our pond, and I named him Marvin. Aw, Marvin the stork. Good old Marvin. That reminds me, so I used to work in Kentucky. And there was a pond right next to where I worked. And I did not have a car, but I rode in with the guys that I was living with. We were all the interns, and so they came by and they would pick us up and they would take us into work. Well, the first day that we arrived there, there's this great big series of traffic cones out in the parking lot, and it said, "Do not cross into this side of the parking lot." Half of the parking lot was sectioned off. Like, what is the whole point of this? Well, it turns out they had 3 peacocks that lived on the property. And it was a beautiful sound, honestly. Peacocks calling, it makes it sound like it is something straight out of a safari. Honestly, I like the sound of peacocks. But they're calling off in the distance, and I was like, "What? Why is this section of the of this parking lot closed off? I mean, we're all packed in like sardines over here. We're running out of parking space." And they said, "No. You don't want to go to that side of the parking lot because our alpha peacock has claimed that territory as his own." And what I didn't know is that you don't need to put a fence up for a peacock, because once they've established a perimeter for them to live, they will not leave it. They will go all over it, but they will not flee. They would rather fight you than leave their territory. So, if somebody parked a car in that parking lot on the wrong side of in the peacock's territory, the peacock would walk up to it, see its reflection in the car, and start to attack the car. And so some people made that mistake and had all the paint on their car scraped and destroyed. That peacock was vengeful. But honestly, it was kind of funny to think about that. Here it is, everybody's running scared of a peacock just because they know that they're super, super territorial. Some people would get very upset about it, but most people just appreciated it. They're like, "Oh, it's an animal being an animal. Just be careful around it. It won't hurt you." That, for people who are curious, was the Creation Museum in Kentucky. Honestly, a really neat place and definitely worth a visit. I worked there for several weeks, and I got to learn a lot while I was working there. Honestly, it's one of the best internships I probably could have gotten to begin with. But I will say, I didn't get the amount of experience that I was hoping to get. But it was because of the limitations of the projects rather than the team or the group. Because they were working on some really neat stuff, but I did not have the skill set that would have permitted me to work on some of the bigger projects. But I was still grateful for the ones I got to work on. There's a duck, don't remember what duck, but he comes to our neighborhood, to our neighbor's ditch. Don't know why there's so much fish, but probably going to name him, you decide. Call him Duck Under Glass. No, a good classic duck name, Daffy. And Daffy can have a personality. So there was a duck that my family got to see when we were traveling in the South. And I don't remember the name of the duck species, but it acted like a dog. It was such a cute duck. It was a big duck too. It was the size of a small dog. But it's just so happy to see everybody just coming over and just waddling back and forth, and his tail just kept wagging constantly. It was so cute. Again, I don't know the name of that species, but man, it was adorable. I hope we get chickens. We also have two donkeys, miniature, and 6 ducks, 2 geese. We're getting rid of them. Oh no, that's unfortunate. I know people have to leave animals for a variety of reasons, or get rid of them, and it is not something that I know it can be a bit of a stressful time depending on the people and the critters that you have to leave behind. The South. Wow, I live in Louisiana and I went to New Orleans twice. Lived 3 hours away. I've never been to New Orleans, but I was in southern Alabama. That was probably the closest I ever got. Man, it is hot down there. We actually have a couple of folks that are from the greater Louisiana area. It's kind of strange, actually. We have, what is it, 3 different, you now make the 3rd person from Louisiana that we have around these streams. It's quite fascinating, actually. I don't think we have another state that really has that showing, except for California. Wait a minute. Oh, it is lined up. Perfect. Pretty sure it's because they're useless. Oh no. Poor critters. My family was traveling overseas at one point, and we were having to ship the family guinea pig overseas. And it was honestly, it's kind of weird. I know, guinea pig probably not worth troubling to ship overseas. A lot of hoops that we had to jump through to do that for that silly little guinea pig. But it honestly turned out pretty well. See, my siblings and I were able to bond around the guinea pig. It was some of the first actual interactions we kind of had as an entire family. Now, there were other things, yes, but it was the first time that we really connected in a different way. And so there was a bit of a fondness for the guinea pig. It's like the guinea pig was a kind of a unifier in among the siblings in that sense. So here we were trying to travel overseas putting the guinea pig inside of its little crate and checking it every so often during the, 10-hour flight? Something like that. And then, after we were done overseas, we flew back and also had to try to figure out how to get the guinea pig to travel back. And then we traveled across the country multiple times. That guinea pig was one of the best traveled guinea pigs the world has probably ever seen. Not the most, but pretty darn high. Yeah, it's hot in the summer. Up here, it is pretty mild. It's not super hot. It's also definitely not humid. That's the one thing we could not stand about the South. When I was in Alabama, it was like I was being suffocated on the air. It was so hot. We just lay in front of the air conditioner trying to stay cool. Oh my goodness. It's actually shocking to me just how much southern heat got to me. And I lived a lot of time in hot places. I lived in Tokyo. I lived in Alabama. I worked at Walt Disney World in Orlando. I was in Virginia. Virginia's incredibly hot. And we were in Arkansas. We were all over the place. And yet I never adjusted to the hot weather. It's kind of strange when you think about it, but so it was. I do miss some of the things in the lower 48, but not the heat. Definitely do not miss the heat. The most it gets up here in Alaska, in where I am, 90 degrees. Mostly it's around 70 to 80 degrees. And it's beautiful. Oh, it's so beautiful. In the average fall day, it is 50 to 60. During the winter, it gets from 40 degrees to negative 20, depending on the year. I love swimming and becoming a tomato. Golly. You know, that's one thing I miss about the South. I miss swimming. There's no swimming pools up here. They're all frozen. Or you have to worry about earthquakes destroying the swimming pool, so you don't really want to build very big ones, typically. Jeff doesn't like humidity. Yep. Our food's perfectly Cajun and spicy. I love chicken tenders and gumbo. Jambalaya. Is that how you pronounce that? Jambalaya. Chicken Alfredo pizza, ice cream cheesecake, and the list goes on and on. Well, that's a lot more diverse than what I have up here. Salmon, and moose. Yes, dry heat is better. Did you see the stuff about about what New Orleans looks like covered in snow? Yes, I saw that. That was hilarious. Was it New Orleans? All I remember was seeing the snowball fight that was taking place. That was so funny. I think that was New Orleans, right? By the way, it's so nice that the snow has finally returned to Alaska. It was way too warm these last few weeks. You all stole our snow, and I'm very glad that you are starting to return it. Please, next time, ask before you take it. Fortunately, we'll have it back just in time for Fur Rendezvous. It'll make the dogs happy. Man, there's few creatures that are as happy as sled dogs. They love being on the trail. You can't keep them away from it. And yet you'll have all these people coming in claiming that somehow the animals are being abused. Oh, no, the animals, they love it. You can see it in their face. You hear them barking and yapping in excitement, pulling at the reins. Like, just let us go! Usually the problem is trying to get them to stop. Because they will just keep going. Tongues sticking out, wagging back and forth as they just press on. Cannot be stopped. Don't forget the pickled whale blubber. I avoid the pickled whale blubber, okay? The pickled whale blubber is disgusting. Preferably, I will leave that to those that have a stronger palate. Not to mention the hurricanes, too. We had a hurricane called Laura. It destroyed our Capital One tower. Oh, interesting. Yeah, hurricanes. Oh, my goodness. It is... I've only experienced a couple of hurricanes. They are beastly. Now, fortunately, you can kind of avoid a lot of the hurricanes, but the wind that the hurricanes bring with them, ooh, it spawns tornadoes everywhere. Tornadoes freak me out. But I found out something else when I moved up to Alaska, and that is earthquakes. Now, earthquakes freak me out, but not as badly as tornadoes. I've lived through a very, very, very strong earthquake. It was so strong that people that were living in Alaska during the Great Earthquake, even they said that the one that happened the other year was stronger. So I've been through basically the strongest that I'll probably ever have to deal with. Well, probably. Earthquakes can always come back. But at least I'm wary of it. At least I have experienced it, and I feel a little bit more prepared should, heaven forbid, it ever happen again. But it could happen. It could. It looks like more haunted than covered in snow. That is right. My sister built a snowman, called it... Oh, just a second. Everything just glitched for me over here. Called it Tostada Bob. Capital One Tower had to get demolished 4 years later. Hope it gets a better building. I'm gonna chase them tornadoes when I'm older. Well, hopefully you catch them and can avoid getting sucked up into them. I will steer far away from any of those tornadoes. Thank you very much. I've had my fair share of tornadoes, and I do not want to see them or hear them ever again. You know, I met somebody who lived in Tornado Alley. Their home got completely, totally destroyed. And they had to build back. A few years later, their home got completely and totally destroyed again by a tornado. And they said, well, we're moving. And so they moved east. And it's like, you went through 2 tornadoes and lost everything. I'll tell you what, you start to come to terms with things quite quickly, and you start to really value the protection that the Lord offers. Because I'll tell you what, when you've been through that changes your worldview overnight. It'll be me chasing them, not them chasing me. So basically what I'm hearing is you're going to scare the living daylights out of the tornadoes. And they're going to be trying to run away from you. Well, good luck to you on that. Hope you give them tornadoes what's for. Thankfully, tornadoes don't really form in my town. Happens in the country area around us. Freaks Jeffrey out when I occasionally mention I'm under tornado watch. Hey, I've been under some serious tornado watches, okay? I have a right to be freaked out about that. The worst time that there was a tornado was when I was at Amazon and I was working in their warehouse. And the tornado siren goes on. Now you have to remember, Amazon is a huge warehouse. You look across the area, you can see clouds forming inside the building. That's how tall the building is, and that's how much atmosphere is in there, and that is how long it is. Now granted, they're really low hanging clouds, it's more like a fog, but you can still see it. There's birds living in there. There's also giant fans to keep circulation in there. And as the tornado warning went off, we all gathered in the designated tornado safety zone. It was equidistant from all openings on the building, and it was in a safe location. And then we feel a breeze. We look up, and we see a gigantic, industrial-sized fan spinning over the entire group. And we look at the marked off section, everything is underneath this wobbling fan that's spinning at full speed. And we're like, if the tornado hits, that thing's going to disconnect and it's going to plow right into all of us and everyone will be dead. Nope. We're leaving. And so management got very upset. Like, where are you going? This is the safety zone. And we're like, we're not going to stay here as long as that thing is over top of us. And management was very, very upset. But they couldn't stop us. Could not stop us at all. Tornadoes are a way of life here. Yep. Versus Oklahoma. Pulls out lawn chair. It starts recording. Oklahoma. Windy place. I know a couple people living there. And it's kind of an interesting state. Not a lot of people choose to go there normally. And yet, at the same time, I know several people who are now permanent residents of the state. Okay, how am I going to line this up? There we go. Center on center. Ah, perfect. So we'll do it this way. So tonight I have to make sure to... Well, I can't do it tonight. I'll have to do it tomorrow night. I have to get the next scene rendering for the Lego animation. The first one came out, and it's pretty good looking. It's not bad at all. Got a ways to go all the same. Dagnammit, why is it not wanting to link up again? Come on. All right, we'll move it manually. I want it to match something similar to that. It won't be perfect. It'll be similar enough. There was a time when I was in the Midwest. We just finished spending time with some folks from our church, and we were starting to leave for the evening. And we got to the front door, and the wind is howling. And we're trying to speak with them, and it's just a real challenge because we can barely hear each other over the wind. And I step away for a moment and just listen. And we were told tornadoes are not coming directly towards you unless you hear the sound that is like a railroad, like a train coming towards you. And so I step away from the front porch, just kind of feeling the wind in my hair and whatnot. And I heard a train, or what it sounded like a train. It was different. It was like wind mixed in with the train, and it's like, that's really weird. Wait a minute, I've heard about this before. And I started to freak out. I was like, I see like sticks flying everywhere, and the skies turned black. And I turned to my family and say, there's a tornado coming towards us. Do you hear it? and everybody hears it, and everybody starts to freak out, except the people who live there. And like, oh no, don't worry, it's nothing to be worried about. And I was confused. Why? Why are you not concerned about this? And he pointed to the end of the road, and we could see a train crossing. An actual train. So it wasn't the sound of a train, it was a literal train. And so then the whistle sounded, and they're like, oh. Wow. But here's what was really interesting, because there were actually many tornadoes in that storm. We were just fortunate that the time that we heard it, it was not a tornado. We were blessed in that sense. Yep, definitely. The sound of a train. It is something that I still have never heard in person. But there's one time when I think we came very, very close to something going wrong. I was at college, and I looked on the news. I saw that there was a storm heading towards us. Now, this was about 15 years ago, and I'm about ready to walk out to my class, and then I get a horrible pain in my side. And I sit down, and it's just like throbbing. It's very sharp, and I had no idea what it was. And my friend that I saw was getting ready to leave, and while I had been sitting there, I'd seen on the news that there were several tornadoes heading towards our school. And I said, hey, don't go outside, there's tornadoes. And then he's like, well, no, we have tornadoes back where I come from. And where do you come from, buddy? And he mentioned a place in Central America. And I laughed, and it's like, buddy, do you even know what a tornado is? He says, oh yeah, we play in tornadoes all the time. What he thought was a tornado was a dust devil. I was like, buddy, you have no idea what a tornado is. And so I insist that he sit down and skip class. And he was not very certain. And so I pointed to the news, and there was a home where there was a tree just wedged into it. Just completely. The tree looked like it had grown up out of the house. And that was just how strong that storm had been. Just picked up the tree, plopped it right there. And he's like, that's not a dust devil. I was like, of course not. You've been living here for how long? But I was like, why is my back hurting so much? Well, about 2 hours later, I found out that a tornado had skipped over top of our college. It had been, so we had flat ground on right here, school in the middle. Here we go. School in the middle. A tornado had come along and hit a hill and skipped up over top of it and continued on the other side. Destruction on one side of the college and on the other side of the college. We were spared. When my side started to hurt so much that I couldn't even exit the building, that might have been the cause. Because I am sensitive to air pressure changes. And that is a huge air pressure change. So yeah, it's tornadoes, not something to be messed with lightly. I've had many close calls with tornadoes, but I always tell the stories. I'll do it next stream. Indeed. That's why they say if you're driving, lay down in a ditch. That's how you know Jesus is real. Exactly. There are moments like that where, honestly, your whole life flashes before your eyes, and you're left perplexed and thinking, not just, you're kind of thinking, Lord, why is it that you chose to work in that way? I mean, I'm perfectly happy about that, but what was the reason for that? And I still don't entirely know some of the things that I've been spared from. But everything is for a reason. And it's a reason not to live in fear. Now, I met somebody a couple years back who had some terrible fears that he was dealing with. I felt sorry for the fella. But he had a lot to deal with. And his fears, unfortunately, because he was somebody who did not believe, it was something where it started to consume him. Now, I won't say necessarily that all fears are just going to magically disappear for you. We are not spared all of the struggles that we'll go through, but we are spared a whole lot. And it's important to not be overcome in our fears. I'll tell you what, when the earthquake happened a couple years ago, that was a moment where I was like, you know what, the Lord is definitely watching over us. When the tornado passed over our school, it's like, you know what, the Lord is watching over us. If you go through life and it's too easy, and you're like, well, why are you all so worried about things, or why are you why do you think that you even need help or whatnot? It's like, well, when you've experienced the challenges in life, you come to realize that you are not in control. And you become wary about the one who is. And you become appreciative. One day, I'm sure we'll find some of the answers to why things were the way that they ended up the way that they did. There's still some things that I am perplexed about. I probably will be perplexed for years and years to come. One of them is the whole concept of streaming. Some real challenging things has happened to result in me even being here. I don't know if it'll go on forever. Well, definitely not forever. We all have a lifespan. I don't know how long they'll go on for, but I am grateful for the time that I get to be able to do it. But it didn't happen without God's involvement. And there are times when you have to look and think, you know what? Too many things have fallen into place for this to happen or for that to happen. And for me, streaming is one of those things. when I'm older, I'm sure I'll know about the reason why everything kind of panned out the way that it did. But I might not ever get an answer. But I do know one thing: an answer will be provided for when it's needed. And all I can do is pursue it until I'm no longer meant to. But I've also learned some tough lessons along the way, and among which is the realization that there are a lot of people trapped in the streaming world. And I gotta say, I have great sympathy for them. I'm not trapped, but I do know some people that are. And I would not have known about those people had I not been in the streaming sphere. So maybe that's one of the reasons why it's turned out the way that it did. Maybe. But there's other things that happen that you're left perplexed about. You're like, why did it turn out this way? Another one of those is, for me, is college. As you all know, I'm not a fan of college. But I still went to college, and I still came away with information that has turned out to be quite helpful. It's also been an incredible frustration for me. Something that continually kind of resurfaces every now and again. And it just keeps reminding me in that sense about some of the challenges that I had to go through. I still don't fully understand all of the reasons why college happened the way that it did. But God does. And one day, I hope to fully understand it. The goal is not to become bitter about the experiences or the frustrations that you have, rather to accept that they happen and you will be informed as God sees fit. All right, I'm about to go to sleep. Good night. Have a blessed day and night. See you next stream, and I'll try to get there. Rest well, fan, and see you next time. Hope you have a pleasant week. And just remember to be civil to those around you. I'll see you next time. Okay, everything just glitched for me. Well, okay, I guess we will. I think we should probably bring this to an end. That was a substantial glitch there. I wonder if the wind's picking up again. I can't really hear it from right here. Not until it's like banging on the glass. But it could have been that, that glitch that happens every now and again for the middle of the night. I think it's like an internet reset, but I should actually turn this off. Probably, because that's substantial, and now that I look at the time, I probably need to head to bed. So, Let's see here. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up here. We'll be back later. Maybe tomorrow, because I definitely need to get this thing finished. But just one last reminder. Got the Blender Challenge coming up this week. Yeah. Oh boy. All right, since we don't have enough people to do raids on either side of either Rumble or Twitch, we're going to bring it to an end there. Have a very pleasant evening and morning, everybody. Oh, Friday, there will most likely be an update. Oh, thank you for that. Will do. All right, folks, have a very pleasant evening and morning, everybody. Be civil to one another, and we'll see you all next time. We'll not be doing a raid. We will see you all probably, possibly, maybe tomorrow. Until then, folks, have a very pleasant evening.